Toby, thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh yeah, no problem.
We'll kick it off with a question from Paul Jones.
Kobe, obviously you and Marquis Spencer are two guys that have played a lot of football in the SEC and a couple of seniors that are expected to start this year. But who are some guys that you think can help provide depth at those defensive end positions? Because obviously that's going to be a key in the SEC.
Oh yeah, that definitely would be a key. I feel like Jack Harris and Aaron Odom would definitely provide more depth. Javon Banks is coming along. I just think it's just a process that we're gonna take very seriously day to day, and I feel like we'll make the improvements necessary before game day.
Next, we'll throw it to Joel Coleman.
Hey, Kobe, we were talking to Marcus a minute ago, and of course, he has a unique situation with his son and dealing with that during this pandemic and things. Have you guys kind of seen Marcus, I guess, take an extra precaution or anything like that? Just how's he kind of, from your eyes, if you've noticed or talked to him or whatever, how's he kind of handled things given his circumstances?
I wouldn't say how his approach has changed, just simply because Marcus has always been about his business since day one, and he's just kind of been consistent with that. I guess of course being more cautious with who he's being in contact with, especially outside of the facility. And I think he just always been handling his business, so I don't think anything has changed with that. He's been very cautious and stuff, and being a man about it. So that's props to Murph on that.
We'll go to Robbie Falk next.
What's up, Coach?
What's up, Rob?
Big game this weekend at Yellow Jacket Stadium, Starkville, West Point. You know how that game goes. I asked him if he's rolling with the wave this weekend. Just your thoughts on how that rivalry transpires every year. I know you guys are really close with that group, but on Friday night when y'all meet, it's a different story, and it's a fierce rivalry. And it's been going back and forth a little bit last few years. What's your thoughts on that rivalry and kind of what it's meant to the Golden Triangle area the last few years?
Man, that rivalry is everything. As we like to say in the local community, it's a lot of paychecks to get bet on that game and things like that. But Starkville and West Point, I feel like we consider ourselves like one of the two dominant powerhouses like in Mississippi. So that game is just like all or nothing. So when you go against West Point, you know they're gonna give you everything they got, no matter like the big names, the who's who. That doesn't really matter with West Point. They're gonna give you everything they got, no matter who lined up in front of you. So that's gonna be a good game. I'll definitely be there though. It's gonna be fun with Murph, so we'll see how that work out.
Next, we'll go to Derek Thomas.
All right, Coach, I have two questions I want to ask you. First off, to piggyback off the depth question, Aaron Odom, three-star prospect, finally getting a chance to maybe crack the two-deep lineup. Talk about his, I guess you can say, maturation as far as learning this defense, and what are you seeing out of him? And second, we know what we have in you and Marquis with the senior leaders, but then at that defensive tackle position, even though Jaden played a lot last year, talk about the youth there with Pickering being a true sophomore, and no actual upperclassmen there. You know, no juniors at the defensive tackle position or seniors.
Right. Well, Aaron, AO, he's matured a lot mentally. So like he's understanding what's in front of him, what's going on, like a lot more now that he's got another year under his belt. So AO is kind of transitioning into that vet role. So he kind of helping bring the younger guys that play the D tackle positions and the end positions along. And with Crumedy is just like I don't think he's not peaking yet. Like every day, with his improvements are big leaps every day. So like with Crumedy, I think Crumedy is definitely gonna be a bright spot that's not expected. This year, Crumedy is doing great, making big strides and stuff like that. But the younger guys, they're locked in. They're going hard every day, and they're just improving every day. It's part of the grind. I feel like they'll be up to speed before the time comes.
And also Trey Lawson, what have you seen from him?
Trey is has a good burst about himself. He's a good athlete, very athletic, a lot of length and stuff, and I feel like he can help us this year too.
All right, next we will go back to Paul Jones.
Kobe, last week Charles Cross was saying that you and him had some pretty good battles in practice, and obviously y'all go against each other a lot with you starting at DN and him at left tackle. I know he's still young and just a redshirt freshman, but what have you seen from Charles Cross so far? And obviously he was a pretty highly rated recruit. I think the first 5-star offensive lineman to sign on Mississippi State. What do you think makes Charles Cross that type of player?
First off, Charles is the ultimate competitor. You're not going to beat him on accident. You have to work your technique and execute it if you want to beat Charles Cross. He has a great motor, and his feet is just as good as the guy who's going to be across from him. So Charles has a great upside, a great player, and I'm just excited to see him play this year.
All right, we will go to Ben Portnoy next.
Kobe, we were talking to Coach Hughes last night just about kind of his experiences as a black coach, and that he said that he's tried to be kind of a role model for some of y'all in kind of his profession and what he's done, I guess. How much have y'all been able to maybe lean on him or have some kind of dialogue with him kind of with the state of affairs right now? And I guess how much has he been just someone to be able to talk to as kind of a Mississippi guy as well?
Coach Hughes has been a great presence for us on the team, especially in recent times. He's been a great guy to look to for advice, mentorship, things like that. He just kind of give us another perspective, a clearer perspective from his standpoint, and just give us little nuggets we can take through life. He gives us a lot of life stories, examples and stuff. He's real good with that when connecting us through stories from his past and stuff. But Coach Hughes is just a great man first. God-fearing, got a lot of respect for him. We're just happy he's still around.
Just quick follow-up. I mean, on that, kind of to that a little bit, I know obviously you were one of the guys kind of in the center and talking to guys at the March last week. What was that kind of like? And I guess what was that like to see your guys, kind of coming together for that and, going through that as a team?
I feel like it was a special moment for us. I feel like we came together. I feel like it made us stronger. It's just a situation that the team as one is very passionate about. So we came together, had a talk with the coaches. Coaches supported us, and I feel like through all this situation helped us come a little closer and unite as one.
Next, we're going to go to Tyler Horka.
Hey, Kobe, it's been pretty evident that you've kind of taken the team under your wing and you've been a pretty good leader for everybody. If we're going to, specify and go to the offensive side of the ball, that is usually reserved for the quarterback. I'm wondering what you've seen from KJ coming in. It's not easy to be a leader as the new guy, but what are some of the things that he's done to try to, put himself in that role, and, what have you seen from him just overall as well?
KJ comes to work every day. You can tell he's passionate about what he does. He's vocal. He's very vocal when he has to, especially as a quarterback. A lot of times he's the one breaking down the huddle, keeping the guys on track, keeping them locked in, keeping them focused before practice and stuff like that. I think KJ is doing a great job being a leader, one of the leaders on the team. So, yeah.
And just a quick follow-up to that, in terms of on-the-field stuff, how is he compared to some of the quarterbacks that you've been teammates with at Mississippi State, and just overall, how would you evaluate him at the position?
KJ, I feel like he's a great quarterback. He has good accuracy and stuff like that, but I don't really just try to compare him to anybody else that we had in the past. Just kind of like trying to look forward and see what he brings to the table. It's the beginning of practices and stuff. We're still filling each other out, but KJ has been a great presence, productivity-wise and leadership-wise.
We'll go back to Derek Thomas.
All right, Kobe, I want to ask you about another offensive lineman, a guy that you probably know very well with your battles against Starkville versus West Point, Scott Lashley. Talk about what you've seen from him as far as joining the Mississippi State Bulldog program and what he brings to the offensive line as far as you know, a guy who's been through some battles and just a talented person to work against to help make yourself any other defensive lineman?
Scott is very powerful. He has a lot of power to our group. Big in size, athletic, long wingspan. So he really provides a big frame for me to have to work around and stuff. And it's just with a lot of those guys, it's just competition. That's what we own. So Scott just brings a whole lot of power, and he's trying to help the young guys behind him bring them up too.
Next, we will go back to Tyler Horka.
Kobe, your senior year is going to look a little different in terms of the atmosphere that you're playing in front of at Davis Wade Stadium. No dog walk. The crowd's going to be a little smaller. I'm sure you've thought about that at least a little bit. How weird is that going to be for you, and what are you going to miss most about the general game day atmosphere at Davis Wade?
I really try not to think about that. But honestly, I feel like the vibrations from the crowd, like in the midst of the game, in the midst of big moments, I feel like that'll be the biggest difference. But I feel like it's just like too much work been put in. So it's like we go with the cards we dealt in, go out there and play like it's a full crowd and everybody's watching.
And next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Kobe, Ty asked you about KJ Costello and his leadership. The other day, after the march, in the protest, you talked about Will Rogers being a guy that was right in the middle of that protest with his teammates. And Coach Leach has talked a lot about Will just kind of being different for a freshman. He's come in and just carries himself in a different way. He acts like, I think Coach Leach said he acts like he's supposed to be there. What have you seen from him from the standpoint of a leadership role like he did with you guys at the protest, and also how he's been able to kind of soak in this offense and learn under this offense? Because I'm sure you've had some battles with him too on the defensive line.
Yeah, it's like when we see Will Rogers on the other side of the ball, the feel is as if the ones like he's QB1. It's just the demeanor he has since day one. Will Rogers is an absolute dog, absolute competitor. Since day one, he's been preparing like he's a starter. He's gonna give you everything he has every day. Ceiling is extremely high for Will Rogers. I can't wait.
We have time for maybe one more question for Kobe. Does anybody have anything else? Going once? Going twice? Mr. Jones, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening.
Yes, sir. Hill State.